Surveillance video Tony Ferrari has watched again and again.
I watched it multiple times just to kind of understand what was going on.
It shows a man behind the wheel of his van at Piggly Wiggly in Mayville.
You're in shock that this is really happening.
At times, it appears more like a demolition derby than a grocery store parking lot.
It wasn't a 10-car crash. It was more of nine cars getting hit by one car.
Police say the driver is a 92-year-old man who was shopping. You can see the van pull out slowly. Then, out of nowhere, the driver hits the gas and bam! Instead of stopping, he appears to put it in reverse and hit two more cars. The elderly driver then takes off, clipping the bumper of another car. But it didn't end there. Another angle shows him hitting this truck so hard it moves several feet.
It's a miracle that nobody was injured.
Police Chief Christopher McNeil said the driver told officers he became confused and panicked.
It could have been a heck of a lot worse. We were very, very fortunate that there was no pedestrians walking out with their groceries.
Laura Praw was in the area during the chaos. She questions whether this person should be driving.
There's a lot of spunky 92-year-olds and whatnot still capable of driving, but maybe it should have been looked at before this happened.
McNeil said the man won't face any charges, but said that DMV will review his records. Todd Hicks, today's TMJ4.
I showed this video because I hope that you can see that OTs really can make a difference. I feel like this guy could have been a patient of any of ours, and I think that this probably could have been looked at sooner. I liked when that woman in the video said that. You know, there's a lot of spunky 92-year-olds out there, but maybe this could have been looked at sooner. And I think that's kind of the passion that drives my business, because I feel like a lot of times we see patients and we don't say anything because we don't really know what to say, or we don't know how to say it. And also we don't really just know how to navigate driving. So that's why I really created this course. I feel like we as OTs, we're really the ones who are working with people. And we really do have an ethical responsibility. In fact, AOTA has the OT code and ethics standards, and they state that all occupational therapists have an ethical obligation to consider driving and community mobility in their initial evaluation and as a part of a comprehensive OT service. I think that this is something that we could improve upon, and I'm hoping to help teach you about that. So to learn more about the ethical and professional obligation to address driving when delivering occupational therapy services, there's a great presentation on YouTube. It's free, and it's a webinar put out by AOTA. I've put the link here for you. It's about an hour long, and I think it's really worth listening to because it gives you a nice guide to really think about this in your practice. OTs are already working on community mobility. We are really working on, always we're looking at the client's abilities and their impairments. We're constantly doing that in our therapy sessions, and we're making recommendations for them regarding safety. We're making recommendations and with their ADLs and IADLs. And we're using our clinical observation and clinical reasoning to gather this data from various different tests that we're doing and just our observations with them. And this is how we put together our recommendations. I feel like a lot of the information that we gain through our clinical observations actually does translate to driving. What we're doing is we're actually looking at their pre-driving skills. So what I'd like to do is show you some of the medical conditions that were referred to me for a driving evaluation in the year 2016. I saw 122 people, and I grew actually 122% from the year before. Each year I've doubled my business since I've started it. So that tells you that there is a huge need to be addressing driving here in Maine. And I think you might be surprised when you see some of these medical conditions. Charcot-Marie-Tooth syndrome, muscular degeneration, weakness, below-the-knee amputation, arthritis, lumbosacral neuritis, fractured vertebrae, below and above the knee amputation with prosthetic, neuropathy, diabetes, right leg nerve injury, neuropathy with toe amputations, neck vertebrae injury, bilateral arm nerve injury, total knee replacement, total hip replacement, transverse myelitis, muscular dystrophy, Friedreich's ataxia, bilateral lower extremity weakness, leg deformity, motor neuron disease, T12 spinal cord injury, myelitis, which is a lower extremity paraplegia, mild cognitive impairment, multiple sclerosis, post-concussion syndrome, stroke, dementia, varying levels of dementia, early onset, moderate, vascular, sleep apnea, confusion, deconditioning, weakness, short-term memory loss, aneurysm, seizure, encephalopathy, changes in cognition, Parkinson's disease, blindness in one eye, decreased memory, ataxia, traumatic brain injury, diplopia, Meniere's disease, post-traumatic stress disorder, heart attack, anxiety, autism, ADHD, depression, OCD, hypoxic encephalopathy, Asperger's syndrome, intellectual disability, autism, fibromyalgia, anxiety disorder, learning disorder. So those are, I thought might be helpful to share with you. Those are just the diagnoses of people that I saw, but this covers a lot of people. And all of these conditions actually affect somebody's ability to drive, their safety to drive. And that's what I'm doing on the driving evaluation, is figuring out if someone is safe to drive or not. In Maine, our legal responsibility would really fall underneath the physician reporting laws. And what the state of Maine has a set of laws which are called the functional ability profiles. And they state that physicians who care for patients with physical, mental, or emotional impairments which may affect their driving safety, whether defined by published guidelines or not, are responsible for making available to their patients without reservation their recommendations and appropriate information related to driving safety and responsibilities. So the state requires that the information must be in writing and must include the name, the address, the date of birth of the patient. The medical professional submitting this report in good faith is immune from civil or criminal liability for making the report.